Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to round 7 of the Tour Golf Championship for 2024. It's first half of 2024, of course, and we've just passed the first half of this season as well. Round 7 season entering the second half of this season. As you can see on the screen, we're in qualifying at the moment, and not too many people here to race with us this evening. It is Colin Keefe, John Cole and Steve Knight. Colin Keefe are on board with at the moment. He looks like he's going to come out on top in qualifying. In fact, he will. So that is pole for Colin Keefe there with 119.2. John Cole 119.4 and then Steve Knight 124.7 in this, the LPGT3 fabulous car. The driver's not entirely happy with the handling, maybe sometimes, but at least visually it looks utterly brilliant. A modern Alpha that wouldn't come to fruition, unfortunately, in the end. Of course, modern Alpha that has the Milano that has launched today, so getting plenty of your Alpha fix today. You can look at the new small crossover / replacement to the Mito launch, and then you can have a look at some AROC racing as well. The time just hitting 0 now. That is the checkered flag for this session, so it will be Colin Keefe, of course, on pole here, and we'll get ready for race 1 between these 3 drivers here. Welcome to the grid, ladies and gentlemen. We're on the grid here at Croft, ready to go in just over 20 seconds now. As you can see, we've got our 3 cars for this race lined up on the grid as we run down to this first corner at the Croft circuit. Bit of a longer, slightly more open right-hand of this first corner, so an overtaking opportunity to be had. Not that we're going to have too much overtaking here in this race. Let's see that as there's 6 red lights on the gantry. And we are away for race 1 here this evening. A good launch for John Cole and Colin Keneath. Actually, John Cole edging out in front, but it's going to be Colin Keneath who has the inside for the first corner. Away goes Colin there. Nice, easy move. Looks like both of them actually getting a little bit messy through the first corner. The back end stepping out on both cars. They do keep it under control, though. Haven't really slowed each other too much down in terms of pace. There is Steve Knight in the background. Meanwhile, he's having a good race. He's got himself up into P3, running in the podium at the moment. As we have John Cole and Colin Keneath fighting out. It's still Colin Keneath on the inside. John Cole having a look on the outside there. Making it through relatively cleanly well into everyone on this lead lap. It could have been carnage, but you all of you made it through with ease. As we see John Cole still putting that pressure on Colin Keneath as he tries to find a way past, now heading into the final sector of this lap. Of course, very short circuit is the Croft circuit. It's short by touring car standards, so to come here in a GT car means that we've got 2 sectors to go through effectively, and as you can see with the lap times, it's going to be very short indeed. It's going to be just over a minute. If that, in fact, it will just about creep over a minute, but it will be very short indeed. Colin Keneath still in the lead of this race as we head on to the second lap now. A little bit over a minute, actually 1:25. I'll give it its due there. The final couple of corners slowing things down somewhat there. Now into this first corner, Colin Keneath has been able to break away a firm margin as we headed into that first corner. Seemed fairly confident chucking the car in at quite a high rate of speed, knowing that he was going to have that mechanical grip for the car to still respond well. As John Cole saying in the paddock there, big points for Steve Knight, and it will be big points for Steve Knight tonight. Obviously, as he comes home P3 regardless, as long as he keeps himself classified. John Cole actually getting ahead. No, he isn't there. He's still staying behind Colin Keneath. Just a small error on the timing system, of course. But we're asking far too much of the timing system to have 3 cars running around, so you can understand why there's going to be glitches. Steve Knight currently running 11th in this championship. He's going to be jumping up to near enough 9th as he gains some serious points. He's going to be not far off doubling his points tally in this race, so should be doing fairly well from this one outing. But the battle between Colin Keneath and John Cole still continues on. Colin Keneath the clear victor in this battle so far, about 50 points ahead compared to John Cole, and that will expand that gap a little bit more, obviously, if things stay the way that they are. But John Cole is certainly making that difficult for Colin. He's keeping up, only 2 tenths behind as we head on to the next lap. That gap is still building up ever so slightly, but John Cole is certainly still putting that pressure on Colin Keneath at this stage in the race. Faster through the first sector, actually, on that last lap was John Cole, which does surprise me. I thought, given how confident Colin looked going into the corners, I thought his car was going to be coming out on top, but it appears to be John Cole's. It appears to be John Cole's car that seems to be the faster machine at this stage. Why could that be? That could just be confidence on this part of the track. It could also just be down to mechanical differences in the car. Of course, this is an open setup championship. The drivers will have adjusted their setup in terms of downforce, suspension alignment, tyre pressures, and such gearing as well to best suit their needs and suit their driving styles, and that will mean that through certain parts of the track they might be sacrificing some pace, and that could be what we're seeing, because it is John Cole who's faster through the first sector, but then Colin Keneath through the second and third, picking up the pieces and building that gap. That gap now standing at 1.5 seconds at this stage. Certainly not insurmountable, I must add. Anything can happen in the race. We've got 20 minutes to go, and a 1.5 second gap is very easily defeatable. I thought now would be possibly a good time to know why we do have so few drivers here. And I'll give you some examples of the quite frankly, excuses. I mean, what could be possibly more important in life than the AROC Racing League? So here's the excuses. Paul Millman has the man flu. Commiserations, Paul. Get well soon. Will Inglis is at the pub. Come on, Will. 5 and drive? No, didn't hear that. Guy Swarbrick is busy writing up the magazine article for the Milano launch, so you'll be reading about that soon in the next issue of Alfa Romeo Driver. And then Rosie's on a plane. Rosie is in fact on a plane as John Cole is setting purple sectors and closing down this margin to Colin Knief. Yeah, Rosie's on a plane, which fair excuse, I think, actually. Fair enough. I mean, you could have brought your laptop, Rosie. You could have brought a laptop and maybe an Xbox 360 controller. Give that a go. See if you can maybe hang about on the plane Wi-Fi. See how that would go. Always worth the shot. Always worth the points as well, because if any of you decide to turn up this evening, even for the second race, you're going to be walking away with hundreds of points. Absolutely bucket loads of points on offer this evening. John Cole, is trying to steal a few more of those points as well. They close up that gap to Colin Knief. Colin Knief does seem to have control of things once again. The previous couple of laps perhaps a little bit scruffy for Colin. He was in the 120s, John Cole's in the 119s. But through the first sector, they match each other in terms of pace now. Marcus staying just under 1 second. And this is going to be another 20 minutes of pressure for Colin Knief, I suspect, because John Cole is going to fight for another race victory under his belt, I suspect. Heading through the final hairpin on track now. It looks to be John Cole, now that these are effectively the only two in the race, I'm going to constantly get their surnames confused. It's the 3-letter, it's John Cole's surname, obviously comes up in the time tower as C-O-L. When I'm about to talk about Colin Knief, I should be looking out for C-U-N. But what I actually do is my brain just immediately goes Colin. So apologies to you both there. It's a mistake I've been making for seasons now. It's a mistake I'll probably continue to make. But we saw through the final corner then, John Cole actually gaining a little bit on entry, but didn't quite have the exit nailed, whereas Colin Knief, the car was hooked up and ready to go on boost and was flying through the gears, and that afforded him about 0.3 of a second that actually gave Knief there. So just a couple of little areas on track, it looks like, are making all the difference here this evening between these two very close, very competitive, very fast drivers. John Cole into the 22 second range actually for sector 1 now. He is absolutely flying along, half a second faster than his personal best as it stands on this lap. Could this be the lap that the A hooks up and B closes up to Colin Knief and brings this fight to us? Let's see, 5 laps into this race now, through that final hairpin once more, where he lost a little bit of time to Colin last time out, doesn't he? He does still lose a couple of tenths on the exit of that corner. Maybe it's his traction control settings or something else to do with the car. Either way, he does not seem very happy getting that car out of that final corner. It's costing him big time heading into this first sector. We know he's already faster than Colin through that first sector, so if he can hook up the end of the final sector and the first sector, he has got effectively half the lap where he can really bring the fight to Colin Knief and try for those overtaking opportunities. We'll just have to see though. We're not far off, well, let's say we're a few minutes off halfway through this race, about 15 minutes to go now, and the fight's still very much on between these two. An update on Excuse Corner, Matt Daly on the M40. I mean, he could participate in this race on the M40. Everyone knows that the M40 is the drag strip of the UK, really. So, again, you didn't hear that. So, again, I think the same possibility as Rosie there. Break out the laptop, break out the Xbox 360 gamepad, and see how good the mobile internet connections across the globe really are. 1 second this time between Colin Knief and John Cole, and even more so than ever as we headed through the next mini sector out of the final hairpin there. Huge amount of time lost for John Cole. It was actually going to be a much faster lap than Collins, were it not for half a second lost through that final corner. It's costing him big time in this race. Let's see it as we head into the second half. That is a big accident there for Steve Knight. That was heading through Sector 2 there. He has got it back on the way, but has lost a fairly substantial amount of time as a result of that one. I was about to come in and check on you, Steve Knight, so apologies there that the auto camera system has decided to tune back into how your race is going right at a very inopportune moment in the purple and yellow liveried car there. Speaking of moments, we haven't had any between Colin Keefe and John Cole for a little while now. The gap is slowly building now. John Cole losing a bit of time on that lap. 2.5 seconds now separates John Cole and Colin Keefe. Colin Keefe still leading the race. we enter the final let's say 5 minutes of this race, but the final minute of this race, it is Colin Keith who still leads this race by a fair margin. He has built up that gap in the final half of the race. It became a bit relentless, really, against John Cole. Nothing that John could do, unfortunately. Colin's currently in the high 119, so he's lost a little bit of pace owing to tyre deg. But John Cole currently in the low 120s, so losing a few tenths per lap compared to Colin Keith there. Into the final 12 seconds of the race. This will be the penultimate lap of this race that we are currently on. Watching Steve Knight just heading through the first corner now. And we begin what is going to be, as I say, the penultimate lap of this. Well, we're on the penultimate lap of this race. We're going to begin in just a moment. The final lap of this race on board at the moment here with John Cole. He's heading through the final hairpin bend there. Colin Keith has just jetted his way down towards the first corner. You can see him in the background there. Starting now the final lap of this race for what has been a fairly typical Colin Keith race, all things considered. I think even though we're in particularly odd circumstances this evening with no cars on track, it's not all too different really. If you're Colin Keith, nothing will feel too different at all. You're sat around driving around the track with no one else to really occupy you. So it's kind of business as usual for Colin Keith there. With Colin Keith as he heads home for the final time in race 1 here. Of course, we do have race 2, the reverse grid race, although that won't really change all that much as we enter the final 25 minutes of this session. Heading through the final couple of corners then. This corner that we're heading through now, the left-handed hairpin, one corner which has been a very strong one for Colin so far this evening. And he's done it once more in race 1, weaving across the line as he comes home to take the checkered flag. Congratulations, Colin. Another race win to add to your tally. Coming home very shortly behind, it is John Cole as well. And then we have a little wait to Steve Knight, who will be rounding out the podium here this evening, adding another podium to his tally and a decent jump in points on the board as well for him. So a positive weekend for him all around. We'll join you in a few minutes though for the first big race coming up next. welcome back to the action, ladies and gentlemen. Just under 15 seconds now until lights out. Unfortunately, we have lost Steve from the fight here. Would have been an opportunity for some points for him, but just ready to go now. It's 6 red lights on the gantry, and we are away for race 2 here this evening. The first good, of course, of John Cole ahead of Colin Knief. Now it's going to be Colin who dives behind as we head into the first corner. Going to be echoing Colin's every move. Sorry, going to be echoing John's every move. Interesting, in the intermission between races, we were actually hearing, but actually seeing in the paddock, a bit of a discussion going on in regards to setup. And there was confirmation from John Cole that it was that final corner costing John Cole immensely in terms of lap time in the previous race. Setup slightly off, the gearing slightly off, his final drive is a lot longer than Colin Knief. What that means is the differential is set up more for speed than acceleration on the car. So that was resulting in the car just not picking up out the corner in the way that he would have wanted, in the way that Colin Knief was. So I suspect he's made that adjustment now, and now these two are going to be free to fight on. Half a second separating them at the moment. Your favourite has got to be Colin Knief after an impressive race 1, but what can John Cole do to defend against Colin in this race? He's got a good getaway so far. He's heading through this final corner now. This was a crucial corner for him in the race 1. Let's see what he does in race 2 through this corner. Colin has closed up by about 0.5 of a second as we head into that corner. Benefits from the slipstream as well. Is gaining time down the start-finish straight as well. It's just, will it be enough time compared to the speed that John Cole has through the bends here? It's going to be a very close battle between these two. That's a good thing, because these are the only two on track. Heading down the back straight, or the only other straight part of this lap. John managing that gap about half a second. Through the mid-sector here, it looks to be John Cole actually has a little bit more pace. But as we've seen through that final sector and the start of the first sector as well, Colin Knief closes that gap right up. Our fastest laps in race 1 were low 119s. We're looking to match that here in race 2, of course. We did see a little bit of a tail off as well later on into the race. The high 110s, low 120s were expected in terms of lap time, so the tyres giving a little bit here at Croft. John Cole going wide into the corner. That has given Colin Knief the inside, and it looked like if Colin was a little bit closer, he could have got the move done here. He isn't able to, though, just yet. Both matching each other in terms of lap time. John Cole a 19.746, and Colin a 19.794 on that lap. So echoing each other in terms of pace. John Cole a couple of little slip-ups here and there that are starting to potentially allow Colin Knief through. Heading down the back straight once again. Let's see what Colin can do from here. Seen occupying the digital rear view mirror on these cars, of course. No, well, I believe they do have a rear window. It might be louvered. You can't really see out the back of it. Either way, there's no proper rear view mirrors in this car. It's all digital for the direct behind the view in this car, as is the case with modern GT cars. Heading through that final sector, Colin Knief is just a couple of tenths behind there. We can see him in that digital rear view camera, heading through the penultimate corner now have the left-handed hairpin to negotiate after this right-hander here. See Colin briefly having a look if he can make it stick. They're on board with Colin at the moment as we head back onto that start-finish straight. Who gets the better run? It actually looks like it's John Cole has the better run this time around. Fastest lap there of 119.2, a couple of tenths faster than Colin through the first half of the lap and the final part of the lap as well was where John Cole was fastest in the sector, slightly going to the way of Colin Knief. Yes, a very evenly matched battle that we have here now that John Cole is running the correct gearing on his car. It's just much closer between these two.